Hello again and welcome back to the PhatPhish Guitar Studio. I'm Dave and this is a video looking at talking about guitar gear, music gear in general. Inspired by a video that I watched a few days ago on Mary Spender's channel. If you don't watch Mary Spender, she does some really good content on her YouTube channel. But she did a video where she went around various YouTubers and asked them what their most important piece of gear was, and that kind of got me thinking. And I thought, yeah, what are the most important bits of gear that I use? Now that doesn't necessarily mean like the best, although some of the stuff I'm going to be talking about is really high quality. Or the stuff necessarily that I use the most frequently, but it's the stuff that it's kind of important to what I do, to my workflow, to my creative work. It's generally stuff that makes me happy or generally in some way improves the quality of my life. Okay, so starting through the list, these aren't in any particular order, but starting with a guitar, it's this one. It's my Williams Evo Artist, built for me by Hayden Williams at Williams Guitars a few years ago. You'll see me using this a lot on the YouTube channel. It's one of my favorite guitars. And I had this built for me. It's basically a super Strut, mahogany body, maple neck, and interestingly, a teak top. The top used to be a laboratory bench in a chemistry lab many years ago. It came to me via a slightly circuitous route, and I just fancied getting a guitar made with the teak top. And after a bit of consultation with Hayden, we kind of came upon the design for this. It's based on his standard Evo model, but was unusual as the first one he'd done with like a carved top, and I think it works incredibly well. Interestingly, it's fairly simple in terms of the electrics. It's only got a three-way blade switch here, and when I talked to Hayden about the design, he said, "Oh, I can give you options for like 5-way switch with you look at coil split and coil tapping and series versus parallel, all that sort of thing." So no, I just want something fairly simple. I've got guitars with more complex pickup switching, and to be honest, I don't always really make great use of it. I just want something simple, straightforward. So Seymour Duncan JB at the bridge and a Seymour Duncan Jazz at the neck. The Jazz at the neck, I think, is one of my favourite sounding neck pickups. Lovely sound. Lovely, warm, rich sound. And the JB at the bridge kind of got a little bit more bite, kind of cuts through a bit more. So it's got limited pickup switching options, but still an incredibly versatile guitar. Sounds great on the clean channel, but give it a bit of overdrive and it really kind of comes into its own. So yeah, definitely has to be on the list, the Williams Evo Artist. Okay, next up, I'm including in the list the Zoom H4n recorder. This one kind of makes the cut because I use it so much and it is so useful. Yeah, I'm recording in the studio here. There's computer equipment over there. It's got a DAW on it. I've got mixers and all that sort of stuff. But for recording the audio for a YouTube video like this, most of the time I'll record straight to the Zoom recorder. Incredibly versatile. It's got built-in microphone, so I can pick up the sound of the room, or I can plug in an external microphone like my lapel mic here and record like my vocal audio that way. It's also got external mic inputs, so I can bring in like a mic'd up amplifier cab, or bring in a feed from like a cab sim or something via a mixer into XLR inputs or 6.5mm jacks into the recorder itself. Records to an SD card. It's really straightforward to use, incredibly versatile. Lots of features, to be honest, I don't even use, like the it's got like amp sims and stuff. If I want to plug in my guitar direct into it, I can do recording in the multi-track recorder and so on. just using features on there. I don't, but like I say, that might be somebody else's use case. For what I paid for it and the use I get out of it, incredibly good value for money. So yeah, definitely on the list is the Zoom H4n recorder. Next on the list is a pedal. It's the Boss RV6 Reverb. I'm one of those guitar players, I find it difficult to play without reverb. I find a totally dry sound, a little bit sterile, a little bit harsh, and kind of uninspiring. Show you what I mean. For once, this is my sound without reverb. You know, when I hit the chord there and mute it, it just stops dead. The pedal's got lots of different types of reverb mode on it. This is just hall mode, fairly traditional sound. And the effect's not up too far, the effect level's just over 9 o'clock. Yeah, it's kind of just, you got that little bit more echo at the end of the sound. You can just hear it echoing away and kind of dying away. It just gives it a little bit more depth and a little bit more colour. And I find that a lot more inspiring than just a totally dry tone. I often double that up with a digital delay to give me a little bit more echo. But the core of my sound is the reverb, and like I say, I'm using for that the Boss RV6. Another pedal which definitely makes the list is a pedal which actually doesn't affect the sound in any way. It makes no change to my guitar sound, but I wouldn't be without it as possibly the most important pedal on my board. It's the TC Electronic Polytune. It's a tuner, and your guitar is nothing if it's not in tune. So Polytune I find is really straightforward to use, loads of features. I like the fact you can use it for tuning individual strings, or you can use like the Polytune, switch automatically to the poly mode where you can just strum all 6 strings and it'll tell you which ones are sharp, which ones are flat, and which ones are in tune. It's got some nice features on there, like you can put it into a strobe mode, you can get it into support like different tunings for the Polytune mode. Setting it like you're tuned around something other than an A440, tons and tons of features. I think guitar players tend to fall into 2 camps. They either use the Boss tuner or they use the TC Polytune. I love the TC Polytune and it's been a staple on my board for years. Next up is something that brings everything together. It's a mixer with a USB audio interface. The one I use is the Wharfedale Connect 502 USB. This is quite a small package, but it's got tons of features and really useful, really flexible. It takes input from a variety of types, so I can bring in like a microphone, XLR input. It'll phantom power the microphone if I need to, or I can just bring in inputs from just regular jack plug type connections. Mix them together as you would expect. One of the inputs or outputs can be USB from a computer. And you can do various clever things like including the USB in the mix or not, outputting to another device, outputting to headphones or speakers, outputting back to the computer with a mix. Really flexible. I've got a few different use cases where I'll have different settings on there depending on what it is I'm recording, where I'm recording to. And it works really well. There's a bigger brother to it, which is the 802, but I find the 502 with its fairly limited number of channels, but like I said, tons of features, it's plenty enough for me. Now this list could have been just pretty much all guitars, but I wanted to include, be sensible and include other pieces of gear. One guitar though that absolutely had to be in the list is this one. It's my Fender Custom Shop Strat. This particular one I had built for me. It's based on a 1955 model, so it's got an ash body, flame maple neck, custom shop 50s pickups, gold hardware, being a little bit extravagant, and as you can see, it's had the relic treatment. I know the whole relic thing kind of divides opinion, but before I ordered this, I played a lot of custom shop strats, some with relicing at various levels of severity, some without, and I just did get sold on the idea of relicing. There's something about the guitar just feels a bit more comfortable, a bit more played in. And it also means I'm not so worried about getting it, getting a ding on an otherwise like pristine instrument. The reason I'm including this one is because it's a Strat. It sounds like a Strat. You know, there's something about Strat single coil pickups that just sound, to my ears certainly, and I know to a lot of other people, they just sound absolutely wonderful, possibly the perfect guitar tone. I've got a guitar there, like my Thompson Custom. That one hasn't been included in the list. For all, it was one that was custom built for me. It's got some awesome features. One of those features is it's got humbuckers that can be split down to single coil, but they sound like humbuckers that have been split down to single coils. These ones are true single coils and they just sound different. There's something about the sound of a single coil that can't be captured in a split humbucker. This guitar, it's got a 5-way switch on it rather than the traditional 3-way, and reverse wound middle pickup, so it can get those in-betweeny sounds. And so like position 2, it's for me just one of the classic guitar tones there. Or position 4. Yeah, just Strat sound I couldn't get from any other guitar. So for me, everybody should have a Strat in their life. This is one of mine, and that's why it's in the list. Next is a pedal. This is a Frederick Effects Golden Eagle, which is a pretty faithful clone of a legendary overdrive pedal, the Klon Centaur. This is a transparent overdrive, which means you get a distorted and overdriven sound, but it still allows the voice of the guitar to come through. There's some special magic in that Klon inspired circuit that just sounds for me like no other type of overdrive. There's a lot of people do like Klon inspired pedals, but the one from Frederick, it's a fairly faithful recreation, you know, without any, you know, trying to enhance the tone stack or anything like that. So this is the guitar just into the clean channel on the amp. And then this is it with the Golden Eagle. Yeah, it's not particularly high gain drive. I've got this set just over halfway, so the overdrive sound's coming in. And this is how I like it. It's just adding a little bit of colour and a little bit of texture to the sound. I could turn the gain up a bit more, or I could turn the gain right the way down and just use the pedal as a clean boost into the amp. But for me, this is like it's almost an always on pedal, just to give a little bit of edge to an otherwise clean sound. It stacks really well with other overdrive pedals, and there's still some of that pedal's voice. Like I say, it's a transparent overdrive, so you hear the voice of the guitar, but the pedal brings some of its own voice as well, and I think it's just absolutely glorious. I can understand why people like kind of chase after the Klon tone, and for me this is a pedal, it's one of my favourites on the board, so that's it, the Frederick Effects Golden Eagle. So quite an old piece of gear. This is my Cork Toneworks Pandora PX4. This is a like handheld multi-effects unit with sort of like amp sims and whatnot, so it's basically all the sounds you want in a tiny little package. Compared to the technology we've got nowadays, it's looking kind of dated now, and you probably, if you did this side-by-side comparison of sound from this against some of the things you can buy now, you know, the modern stuff would knock this into a cocked hat. But I've had this for years and I still have a use for it. It's not my primary sound, but it still gets a lot of use. It's small, it's portable, so if I'm traveling and I want to take something with me so I can just kind of play with it, like dirty sounds or whatever, without having to take an amp with me, it fits really easily into a guitar case, and like for just playing in a hotel room or whatever, or if I'm on the road plugging it into a laptop, it's ideal. And also I just kind of use it around home sometimes. If I don't want to fire up the amp, you know, I don't want to, I've only got 5 or 10 minutes to play, I don't want to like wait for the amp to warm up, and you know, it's not going to be on for very long. Just something like this, just to kind of like scratch the itch of wanting to play guitar for a few minutes. So it's got various amp models. I'm use the term maybe a little advisedly when you compare this to some of the technology that we've got today, but you know, you've got sort of like Fender Blackface type of sounds and Tweed type of sounds and high gain Marshall type of sounds and boogie type of sounds, and you know, you can model that with various types of speaker cabinet, modulation effects, delays, reverbs and whatnot. So I've just dialed in a sound at random. So as you can hear, it's not an awesome sound, but for what it is, it's not bad. I find it, like I say, really useful to have something that's small, battery powered, portable, I can kind of take with me anywhere, just for playing through headphones or straight into a PC. And I think you can pick these up on the second-hand market for not a whole lot of money, so possibly something you might want to look at for yourself. Lots of sounds on offer for not a whole lot of money, and like I say, for all it's quite old, I still have a use for it, and that's why it's on this list. Next on the list, Shure SE215 sound isolating earphones. These are like in-ear monitors. They're like an earbud, you know, headphone type thing, combined with an earplug. So they cut down the ambient sound from outside, so like wearing an earplug, but by having the earphone thing built into them, you can listen to music. So the application for these, you know, are varied. You can use them as in-ear monitors if you want to play on stage. The sound isolation gets rid of a lot of the ambient sound from the stage, so you're not going to be getting deafened by a drummer, and you can just kind of focus on what's coming into your ears. I often use them in the studio if I'm doing, really useful actually for like Facebook live streams, because I can wear them to monitor what's coming off the mixer, but it's not as obtrusive as having a big set of headphones on my head. And also often just use them as earphones with like my phone if I'm out listening to music when I'm out and about. Because they're sound isolating, it means I don't have to have the music up so loud to drown out the outside, like the outside world, and that means I'm not blasting music into my ears as loud as I otherwise would. So that means my hearing is protected. I did a video recently on YouTube about the importance of protecting your ears and avoiding things like tinnitus. And for me, a really useful tool in that is something like sound isolating headphones. And so my headphones of choice in that case are the Shure SE215s. Okay, next up is, actually it's not the guitar, it's the pickups that I'm talking about. These aren't the original ones that came with the guitar. The pickups that I've got here are aftermarket ones. They're Seymour, Duncan, Antiquities. Now the Seymour, Duncan Antiquities here are basically a very good replica of the legendary Gibson PAF pickup. You know, the original humbucker, the one that Gibson applied for a patent for. PAF, patent applied for. And the thing with vintage PAFs, they change hands for ridiculous amounts of money because they're vintage PAFs. But the problem with that, apart from the cost, is original pickups that were made using the technology of the day in the late 50s, where there wasn't computer control. I mean, somebody told me that some of the machinery used to control the winder was, you know, made out of cardboard. So some of the quality was a little bit variable. Some are absolutely glorious. Other ones maybe didn't get as many winds as they should have done or something, and sound a little bit ropey. The Antiquities here, they're a really good recreation of a really good quality PAF, and it's an absolutely wonderful sound. Got them here in the 74 SG into a slightly overdriven sounding amp, and it sounds like this. I love the sound you get from them. They're not particularly high output compared to some of the humbuckers that we might be used to today, but they just got a warmth to them, but they've also got a bite, and they can cut through everything you would want from a good quality humbucker. So yeah, definitely Seymour, Duncan Antiquities are an important piece of gear for me. Okay, so there you go, the 10 most useful, most important pieces of gear. That's my personal list, and I feel bad about missing some things out. I mean, I can't believe I've done a list of the 10 most useful and most important things, and I didn't include a Telecaster. There's no acoustic guitar on the list. There's pedals down there on the board that I absolutely love, and I didn't mention them. But I'm trying to keep it to a sensible number of things and a bit of variety, not just, you know, just all guitars or something like that. So I hope you found that interesting, and I hope it's kind of inspired you to think about what your relationship is with your gear. What do you use, and kind of how you relate to it, what inspires you, kind of like I say, what improves your quality of life for having it like either in your hands or on your pedal board or coming into your ears or whatever. What is, what gear really matters to you? And I'd be interested to hear about it. So if you want to pop something in the comment section, please do. If you enjoyed the video, please click like down there. If you really enjoyed it and you want to see other videos that are posted onto the channel, then please click subscribe, which is also down there. Like I say, you're welcome to leave a comment, but if you've got a specific question you want to ask me, whether it's about gear, guitar playing, music theory, anything at all, you're better off going here, submit your question through that form. I don't always see the comments on videos, but I am guaranteed to see your question if you send it in through that form, and I can get around to answering your question in a future video. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video next time. Bye for now.